Got more cryo hops. Today's Cascade. Done Simcoe, Equinaut, now Cascade. This grain profile is my standard one. It's just 2-row flake dough, some mass malt for my water, and only whirlpool for 30 minutes. That's what I did for the last one for the Simcoe and Equinaut one, and that's what we did with Brew Yard with Equinaut, was just whirlpool. I did get some diacetyl on my last beer, my last IPA I did. I do have a fresh pack of US-05. I don't want to use old yeast. I think that was maybe some of the issues I was getting with some diacetyl problems. This, I'm going to measure out though. So I also may be adding too little or too much just by eyeballing. I'm going to measure. There's an online program called Captain Brew, and I think they have a calculator. If not, I think Brewer's Friend has a calculator to measure the amount for dry yeast. Also, I think the Beersmith program has it built in. I have 3 different options to check out here, and I'm going to try them all. I've been having some weird efficiency issues recently. Because last time I had my pre-boil targets have been fine both times. My post-boil, first time was under, next time it was over. Really weird. So we'll see what happens today. My post-boil today I'm going for like 10, 62, 63, somewhere in that range. 2 gallons of water, the rest of it is carbon filtered. I've always heard it's good to like let some of this out first for a little bit, like 30 seconds before you put it into your, use it for water. I tend to do that. We can water the plants with it. It's always great. So the IBUs I'm going for about 65, 70, somewhere in that range. But the fact that they're only whirlpool, it might be a little less than that. You definitely get a lot more concentration of the hops with the lupulin powder. They're going to be closer to like 12, almost 13% in alpha acid for my Cascade. So, I got to adjust for that. I bought new calcium chloride. It's in here somewhere. Oh. There she is. I was using that weird crystal stuff earlier that turned into this like weird crystallized form. This is what it should look like. These little pellets. So I forgot to mention earlier that I'm gonna be splitting this batch up. 1 gallon's gonna get the US-05, and the other gallon's gonna get Brettanomyces. And the Brettanomyces is the Brexlensis Troy Verret, which I keep saying wrong, I'm pretty sure. 1 gallon's gonna go into a keg, and the other gallon is gonna go into bottling. The nerve-wracking thing about using this yeast is it says it's best by December 10, 2017. So it's a year old. I don't like that. I think Brett, though, can handle a bit more of the, I would say, like dead yeast cell situation and maybe diacetyl and all that kind of stuff. I haven't really even gotten diacetyl from Brettanomyces before. I know it can actually clean up autolysis, which is the dead yeast cells, and actually can help with oxidation issues and kind of clean that up as well. I actually used Brettanomyces once where I had a really badly oxidized IPA, and I threw it in a keg and put Brett in it. Kept at room temperature for like months and months, and it actually cleaned up to be a pretty good beer. Target here's 149, 148, so totally acceptable. Let's take this pH reading now, shall we? So I'm slightly low, rather be at 5.2, that's what I was going for. I'm gonna leave it, I'm okay with it. By the way, this Apera pH meter I've had now for like, I don't know, month and a half. It's fantastic, it's absolutely amazing. 5-star review. 5 stars, for sure. For sure, 5 stars. I'm going to heat up 0.75 gallons here. Obviously your system's different. That's what I'm doing. I'm not going to, Jesus, get in there. Usually I get this to 190-ish Fahrenheit. Not this time. When it gets like closer to like 155, 160, closer to what my mash temp was. I know there's guys who do cold sparges, and that's usually though if you do like 85% of your mash water, you thin it out, then the rest is your sparge water cold. That works for a lot of people. I did it a few times early on. My efficiency swung around a little too much. If I get this within the range of my mash temp, it should be fine. Okay, I have 1 gram of gypsum here, and the first time I've actually played with putting my salts in the mash, also in the sparge water. It's weird for how long I've been homebrewing and for how long I've been doing these videos for. Really trying to dial it in, trying to become a better brewer. So I'm glad I'm doing this because that pH is at 5.7. I want to be at 5.2, especially right before boiling. I'm gonna throw some lactic acid into this. So I think I'm gonna do like 0.3 milliliters and see where I'm at. That's still a little high. I'm gonna throw another 0.3 milliliters of lactic acid into this, run it off, and then I'll take another pH reading right at boiling, or right before boiling, and that will, that's the more important one. I want to be around 5.2 there and not too high, because I want like good utilization, I want a good protein break, and I want pH to be in the right range. So I'm dialing it in right now. I'm dialing it in. I got this. All right, that's our pre-boil. I will throw an article below if I find one about pH in the boil and why it's important. Yeah, you know, I just have always heard it's good to do, and here I am doing it. I made a mistake. I made a mistake in the brew day. I almost didn't put it in the video, but I had to. I gotta be honest. There's 2 sides to this stick. This is my measuring stick for a 10-gallon pot and a 5-gallon pot. This is for the sparge water and mash water. What I did was I measured my mash water, nailed it, got the dialed in. Sparge water, I had the wrong side. So I was using my 5-gallon side, measuring side, for my 10-gallon side. Went to 0.75 gallons, which on the reverse side puts me at like almost 1.5 gallons. So I diluted my volume by like a good half gallon. Ended up with 2.5 gallons. The gravity was way low, of course. It was like a 1030. I usually always check my pre-boil volume as it's running out from my sparge water. I didn't do it this time because I walked away to film something for a different video. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. So I came back. I was like, oh shit, my volume is really, really high. It can't be good for the gravity. I pulled off half a gallon, got to my pre-boil target, which was 2 gallons, added some DME to it. What I did is I put the gravity, I put my efficiency way low on the BeerSmith program to trick it, and then added what amount of DME would get me to my target pre-boil. I think it's around 4 ounces is what I added to it. Got me to a pre-boil of about 1040. It's like, screw it, I'm gonna do it, leave it at that. With 10 minutes left in the boil, I'm gonna add some corn sugar. The program I looked up said add about 4 ounces of corn sugar to bump it up from like, it was like 1058 or something, how it was gonna finish to get me like 1062 for 1.5 gallon batch. Added 3 ounces, tested it, I was at 1070. Woo! Not even close, go for 1062. So what I did is I then diluted it down with distilled water, got to 1064. That's where I'm at now. Well, let's add the Cascade hops.
Now let's knock this motherfucker out of the park!
So people often ask me, in the channel, outside the channel, why I brew such small batches. Don't think I've ever really addressed that in these videos. First is cost. It's so much cheaper to do 1 gallon batches. In this case, it's 2 gallon batches, but man, I think this IPA or the hops with the grain was like 15, 16 bucks, something like that. The other thing is, I can't get through 5, 10 gallon batches. Even when I brew a good batch, I used to brew bigger batches, it would take me so long. So I prefer, like, from at home to have, like, drink a little bit of wine, full disclosure. So for me to have a bunch of home brewer around, this doesn't really make sense. But I do enjoy a beer here and there at home, and it's perfect then for 1 gallon batches. The other thing is that, man, I can really experiment. Like, for example, I can split this in half. Experiment with Brett, USO5 goes in the other one, and I have 2 different beers entirely. If something goes horrendously awry, no big deal. It's just 1 gallon. I can dump it. I like to experiment a lot. I like to try different things. Today, unfortunately, was one of those things where it didn't go according to plan, but for different reasons. So those are the reasons why I do it. I love the brew every weekend also. To me, it's more of like the fun of it, almost than like having a bunch of beer around or having a bunch of beer that I can drink. Not that there's anything wrong with that. These are just my reasons for doing it. And I love it, man. I love doing these 1 gallon batches. They're really fun. So the wort's cooled down now. We're at like 64 degrees Fahrenheit, something like that. Time to add it into the jugs here. Because there's such little green matter in these cryo hops, the screen is useless. Ideally, I just whirlpool and keep it down there, but I don't have ability to really pump out of this right now. I would love a system that would be like for 1 gallon batches and just little kegs and little kegels on like a little 3-tiered system. Oh, it'd be amazing. I should look at trying to build one of those. It'd be great. All right, there's 2 grams of yeast. I'm gonna sit for a second and give it a little swirl here. So the reason why I'm doing this is because the dry yeast cells that I used, you can have a lot more die-off rate. So I'm trying to do something new here. I'm rehydrating. I've known for a while and heard for a while that it's very, 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 very acceptable to use just dry yeast and not rehydrate. But I also want to get exact amounts. I found a really good calculator a while ago. I don't think I mentioned it earlier, but MrMulti.com. You can type in all your numbers, and then there's a section there that you click on dry yeast, and it tells you how many grams to add. And it said 2. This is the one where the experimentation comes in. I have no idea. This yeast is very, very old. I'm also not going to measure it because Brettanomyces can actually, you kind of need to overpitch by quite a bit for it to work. I'm going to eyeball this. So experimentation, let's see what just USO5 does, perfect pitching rates, to what the Brettanomyces does. Might just pitch the rest of this packet. It looks like I don't have a lot left. It does not smell good. So this one could turn out so bad. It could turn out so bad. But hey, you know what? We're experimenting here. We're experimenting. Shoot. I think there's mold in this. That's a problem. All right, well, that right there, that color right there makes me very nervous. What a weird brew day. I was so excited early on. I was like, man, I got dialed in. I got my gypsum going. I am rocking and rolling right now. This one knew the risk. This is, yes, this one is definitely on me. This one's all on me. The whole thing's on me, but this one's really on me. All right, well, good luck to me with this one. I'm going to watch it like a hawk, man. If there's any off flavors, if I smell, if I see any mold at all, it's gone. I don't want to mess with mold at all. It can be kind of dangerous if you find mold on the surface of your beer, you just got to dump it because there can be toxins in there that can be harmful. The highly likely of my Brettanomyces one being tossed is very high. So I'm going to keep this at around 64 degrees Fahrenheit. The Brettanomyces one, the mold one, is going to be at like high 70s. That's about what it is here in Los Angeles area. And yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching my hodgepodge day of brewing here. Yeah, and get out there and experiment and have some fun.